about the online groups if you're not in mushroom spotters already and you kind of get interested. One of the
All the sheep have gone.
That these online forums give you is like, for example, this is a fantastic book by Jeffrey Kibbe. He's a nice guy, Jeffrey Kibbe. He's so humble, this guy, and he knows so much, you know. And then when it rains, the raindrops land on it, and each tap causes a pop. And that's the forage, and that's the forage spread. And they're great when you get to that stage, because you can literally tap them until sometimes you get loads of them on the floor, and you can get swimming just sort of go like this, and they're all popping away, you know. It looks like a little miniature battle scene or something, you know. Proper strong, but if you want it to make you sleep, you have the right dose of it. If you have too much of it, it's actually the opposite way. So people with valerian, sometimes they'll get like a tablet valerian for me, buy it, and they'll sort of go, oh, I can sleep with it.
Amazing. Be careful. Pressure. The forage man.
You know, there's an interesting statistic came out of, so somebody was, a few years ago, was a bit of somebody collating data, collating information on mushroom fatalities. So how many people have been killed by mushroom foraging and, you know, misidentification of mushrooms. So it was in Italy that these stats were gathered, and it was how many people have killed themselves by eating death cap mushrooms. Well, the interesting thing was more people that year died from foraging and falling off things than they did from misidentification of mushrooms.
Oh, there's some in Tackle here as well.
There's loads on this tree, isn't
and
there?
there's another saddle here as well.
Send the elder because he's lived his life.
He's alright.
So slippy.
I know why.
Please don't fall.
Get some good footwear on, I can get you climbing.
Have we got your insurance?
Are they turkey tails?
Yes.
Well, you see so many of them. Like, is there any that are poisonous?
No, there's not.
Oh, right.
No, but there's plenty that aren't turkey tails. So.
All right.
Right.
Action man.
What about, you managed to get down here?
Here he goes.
Oyster spot. Keep checking it because they do definitely come back oyster. They're good for that. Yeah, and actually
Pass the message on.
I was not on the fingers crossed. I was just kind of expecting that would have the oysters on it because I know they're out for summer oysters now. I found them 2 days over this week. I know that grows them, so that, you know, they're very reliable. Basically, is what I'm saying. Because some species are not reliable. A couple of years ago it was a fantastic year for porcini around this region, and I was finding, so when you find a new spot you think, oh brilliant, a new spot, I'll check that out next year and year out, you know. I was finding spots where I'd never found porcini before, and they weren't there last year and they probably won't be there this year, but because they just decided to come up once in that place. So they're unreliable basically, you know. You know, you kind of, whatever, you know, which organism it came from, obviously doesn't always fruit every single upright, like a normal mushroom. But what will still happen is that stem will be offset towards the edge. It's never central. It never appears central, it's always offset. Okay. And that's because, really, it's designed to kind of go like that. Yeah. So that's one of the ID features of an oyster mushroom, is the offset stem on them all. The other one is the gills, very tightly packed, lots and lots of gills, quite deep fins on the gills, and very decurrent. Decurrent means that they run all the way down the stem, or part or all the way down the stem. And the stem itself is very, very short in it. So the books describe it as a rudimentary stem, rather than a big full proper stem. You know, so yeah. So let's have a look at this one. So then you kind of go, right, okay, I wonder what this is then. So you kind of look at it and you go, right, okay, well it's got an offset stem. The gills are running all the way down the stem. Nice, oh, it's an oyster mushroom. So. Okay. That's what you've got to do, is you've got to see the identification features rather than see what you think you're looking at.
Yeah.
Right. Can everybody, I don't know if you're from where you are at the bottom,
Can you see, Rachel, come here.
can everybody see this mushroom here? So easy to miss. You know, it's so easy to miss them, isn't it? You get it in your basket and the colours stand out and you think, how could I ever miss that? But against the background of this.
Oh, it's a little bit like a red Russell, but in a different colour.
Yes, it is a rustler.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's a rustler mushroom.
I recognise in the family.
What have they got that's got rustlers before? So this is one of them. The red cap rustlers are quite notorious for being acrid. And the darker colours like this are quite well known for not being acrid. But that doesn't guarantee it, you know. Identification. Okay, so with a rustler there's a general jizz to it, there's a general vibe to it that tells me it's a rustler anyway. But when you first start foraging you sort of think, well, what's the difference, you know? Things we're looking at, I've got very closely packed tight gills. Yeah, I've got a nice shape to it. Things I'll notice is I've got a bit of an umbo in the middle. Not an umbo, a depression in the middle. Yeah, so I'm slightly depressed in the centre. An umbo is the opposite, where you've got a nipple. The gills run up to the stem and attach to the stem, but that's it. Yeah, they don't run down the stem. Sometimes the gills stop just short of the stem. You know, so that's what I'm seeing on this one, is the gills run up to the stem. The stem is, it's not dead long, it's not a tiny short one like the oyster mushrooms, you know, so I've got a bit of a ratio between the cap size and the stem length. And then if I break the stem, if I just snap it like that, it kind of snaps like a piece of chalk. There we go. Yeah, like a piece of chalk would snap. It's not as tough as a piece of chalk, but it snaps like a piece of chalk, and that's because it's what you call granular, so the fibres in there are very granular. So a fibrous stem is where the fibres run down the stem and you snap it and it kind of, you get, you know, long bits sort of sticking up that are tough to break sometimes on some stuff. The way that the universal veil attaches to the cap can give you clues to its identity, because sometimes they can be rubbed off, like them, they've just been rubbed off. Sometimes they're washed off in the rain. Some of them are stuck there and won't budge, you know, different species, so that can give you some clues to its identity, but it's got the spots. It's got quite tightly packed white gills that join the stem. Yeah, so that's another identification feature. And the final one for an amanita is to do a bit of wriggling about and try and find the base of it. Find the base and see what we can see.
Oh, I'm squidging it. Put you out of the way then.
I'm not getting down to the base. Is that the panther cap has very, very, very white spots. The pure white spots, and the white spots are stuck on so they don't just scrape off. So this is, there you go, they're scraping
The deadly one.
Yeah. The other thing is the panther cap from the base of it has a very distinct gutter around the top, like a ridge around the top, like a gutter around the top of the base. But the final one that really is a concrete ID is I pull the can you see the ring? Amanitas usually have a floppy ring like that, and if I get a magnifier on, or if you've got good eyes, you'll see that there's lots and lots and lots of lines on that ring called striations, and the striations are basically the imprint of the gills where it is attached to the gills, and as the cap opens it breaks away from the rings and leaves that imprint behind, and the panther cap does not have striations, it has a smooth substance. this is a good habitat for libs, as in liberty caps, you know, the psychedelic. Psychoactive.
That's what I want.
Liberty caps is their common name, really.
Like a little nipple on top.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
Younger.
Fairies live on those as well.
Yeah, well that's what makes you go on.
We
with it.
have a bit of a thing in the group where that's the first bit, and then anything after that it could be sexual bit. But even the best killers don't get that one. They're not really researchers, they're lying again. So then you're like, oh, I don't know.
I did find out the
So
other
the
day.
thing to do with that is a taste test.
Actually, if you
So give it a spray up again.
Can I touch the grill? I just want to see like how the texture is on this one.
So
Waxy, isn't it?
it is waxy. They are breaking, but
Yeah.
they're not breaking as much as some of the big ones.
It's like buttercream.
Very traumatic. But yeah, like you said,
Is
Dry
there
off.
any taste test? I probably won't taste it. Bring the taste test.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I'm just filming it. Let me see.
It's not truffle charlotte.
Villagers unite! Woo. We've got our sticks. We've come on the track off from everyone else to see what we can find. Nothing by the looks of it.
absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nude.
The curry is
Oh, are they pop? There's always wasps around them.
idea to it. And these are the flower heads. And you've got to, so this is the one that Boris Johnson told us we've got to be careful of.
Why?
Coronavirus. Beware, be alert.
You didn't say people with long hair would give you the virus.
It looks like one, doesn't it? But this is something you could do if you want to have a test of it, seeing as we've knocked down the path. I've not touched any others. If you want to pick one and have a nibble of the taste, because it's got a bizarre taste.
What's it called? Ribwort plantain.
I forgot.
Look at my hair. Look at the state of it.
So I like if you carry a bag plate, and then I lay them all wet to dry, and then they sort
It's nice.
Tastes like mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you carry a bag
Like that aftertaste. Cheers. Cheers.
can you see on the stem? You've got this sort of
Oh
network.
yeah.
It's almost like it's wearing a stocking or something like that. And that's called a lectinum, so it's one of the lectinum family.
Right.
And the common name for all the lectinums are a brown bolete, brown birch bolete. You get sometimes you get ones with a very orange cap, and they're orange birch boletes. Sometimes they grow with oak trees, so they're orange oak boletes. But the brown birch bolete is the common one.
Wow.
And this is the lectinum.
So is that what that is?
Yes.
Brown
yeah,
birch bolete.
Brown birch bolete. Yeah, brown birch bolete. This is so it's lectinum family. That's the one that I used to think was called lessinum, which is a shame it's not because the
Because of
flavour's
your
like
awful
porcini,
joke
but
earlier.
lessinum. Yeah.
Like a dad joke.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, so that's one of the brittle gills. So that's right. So tell you what, I've only touched the back half.
Okay.
Do a taste and nibble test on the front somewhere.
Oh, here she comes. She's got thousands of them.
Deceiver.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And very detective deceivers.
Are they deceivers, yeah?
Never seen anyone like science. I am so happy.
They are. And
Save the IP,
these are typical as to why they're called deceivers. I mean, look at it. It looks nothing like the deceivers that we've kind of found elsewhere. You know,
I
but
did
it's
found it the other day.
it's the
Remember when I
gills.
was saying there was a woodland
It's
vine?
beautiful.
So, it's got spots, but the spots are not dead pure white.
Yeah, okay.
And
really
and
striking the spots.
the vulva would have like a gutter, proper gutter around the edge. The ring's missing because it's been chewed off by a slug. So all ringless amanitas are edible, but just because it's missing the ring doesn't mean that it's a ringless amanita, just missing its ring. That's missing its ring. That's a grey amanita. So that's what that is, a grey. So that's perfectly edible as a grey amanita.
Right.
And can you see this little one here? Have a look at this here. So this one's worth knowing about.
Oh, okay.
From an angle, that looked like a leaf.
Oh, I'm loving the mushroom collection.
And I'm just trying to excavate this because it's got a different type of sac to it. Oh look. I really want to get the whole sac out just so I can show you. Oh, I don't think I'm going to get it. Or maybe there. You might just be able to make out. So the Amanita bulbous base is actually a sac on this, and it's a loose. Can you see these loose bits of? If sometimes you get a good one and you can probably see that it's kind of in a sac like a cup. Okay, so that's in a cup. There's no ring on it. Again, it could have been chewed off by a slug, but this is one of the ringless Amanitas. But can you see around the edge of the cap? You've got these striations. That striations, an Amanita that's got them striations is a grisette. That's what identifies it as it's one of the grisettes, and that's a tawny grisette. There is an orange grisette, and that looks very orangey. But the orange grisette has, in fact, it has got the flocculations. So look very carefully. We've got the little sort of patterns there. It's not very clear, but can you see the patterns, flocculations in the stem? So that's an orange grisette, right? Amanita crocea. And that's always a nice find, isn't it? Amanita crocea. Nice. So we'll have that. That's it.
Straight in the basket.
Yeah.
A wild mushroom man. A wild mushroom man. On a forage through the undergrowth.
So when he kind of comes to me, he said, "There you are, mushroom man." He went, "You know what?" I said, "What? He's bloody whistles everywhere. 6 o'clock in the morning, right next to me."
Basically, it's a fly mushroom. Just called like yeah, it's called fly mushroom.
Is that all?
To you as well.
Yeah, he's got a German chef with him. Complete.
Yeah.
Not set.
Yeah. I'm meeting him on Tuesday because videos of him.
Yeah. That's why I'm in the
Look at them tasty bad boys.
The big oyster, you'll see the big pieces of oyster. The only thing I'm sort of concerned, don't worry, nothing to do with the poison, is the big piece of oyster might be a bit leathery. It might be, you might expect that stage.
Well, Kim, can I put my phone in your pocket?
The scala tuna bolete that's in there. You know, and then you know, like, next time.
Tasty. Chef, forager, mushroom man,
Whistle maker.
whistle maker. Yes, will do.
Mushroom spotters. I'll post a video on it.
Yeah.
We'll connect.
Make new friends.